I just started recording right now.
Alright.
So, how about you introduce yourself? Let everybody know what you do.
Well, my name is Eddie, and I don't know, I guess I'm a podcaster by night, and I work in the security industry by day.
Awesome. Awesome. So, you're working in the security industry by day. So, this is like your side hustle is doing podcasting on the side?
Yeah, pretty much it's more of a keeping busy hustle type of thing.
Nice.
You gotta have something, a hobby or something to keep you sane sometimes. Trying to balance your home life, your professional life. You also got your personal life.
Absolutely. So, your podcast is on the mic, correct?
Correct. So it hasn't come out yet. It's on work in progress. On the mic with Eddie. That's pretty much
Okay.
what it's going to be called. That's one of the podcasts that I do have. One of the podcasts that I've thought of, and I have a second podcast that is already out. But it's more I
Okay.
do it with somebody else.
That's awesome. So, what are you going to do with on the mic?
So my intention, my goal for on the mic is pretty much you know what? Actually, I kind of think it's a little similar to what you're doing.
Okay.
I guess it's more of showing people that there are struggles, that you can overcome these struggles, and you can be artist, you can be a musician, you can be a aspiring chef, you can maybe be a future in podcasting. There's so many different ways, but yes, there is that yin and yang of
Yes.
up and down, and you just got to overcome down to get back up on top.
Absolutely. I love it. So, what are some of the struggles that you've seen so far?
I think, I mean, for me personally, it's always been making the time to do it, trying to
Yeah.
get out there and doing it. I'm sure you probably, probably go through the same
Absolutely.
thing sometimes, and you're like, all right, you got to set your block time, and then, life happens, and, you got to take the kid is sick, you got to go do this with the family, and it's, something always, but I think it's
Always.
important just to set your time frame and go, this is what I'm going to do, and stick to it. And I
Yes.
think that's always the little goal versus
Yeah.
the bigger goal is making sure that that product comes out the way you want it, the way you like it, and achieve what your intention is.
Exactly. For me, I know that I used to try to schedule everything, and a schedule just doesn't work for me. I'm not that type of person. I don't get in that mind frame. I have to do tasks and like bullet points and actually like cross them off, and that's how I get stuff done. And that's what works for me. What's your process like?
I think I'm the same way pretty much. I'm not a schedule guy. I mean, I got a 4 year old who that's where my schedule is. So whatever the schedule is for the 4 year old, that's where I gotta base my schedule. But I do set goals and I do set, okay, I want to talk about this, this, and this. This is the person I want to speak to. My timeline is like right now. My timeline for on the mic is I want to have it out published by no later than February. You
Yes.
know, I got to get the right, I got the art going on for it for the logo. I have the website up already, and just
Nice.
pretty much right now it's just the branding, the marketing, the getting people on, and trying to just have a set schedule on. Okay, here's who I want to talk to, and these are the reasons why I want to talk to them. And let's see if they want to do it. But sometimes the people you want, they're camera shy, microphone shy, or sometimes they're even super busy.
Absolutely. Scheduling is so crazy, and people just like reschedule and all kinds of stuff. I had one earlier that it seemed like it was dead set gonna happen, and then like 10 minutes before they bailed. You're gonna see it 1,000 times, man.
Yeah.
1,000 times. I had one. I was so excited. She had like 232,000 followers. I was like, yes, money, bro.
Yes.
Like we
Yes.
were back and forth all the way up until the day of.
Those are the tough ones. Those are the tough
Right.
ones. I
Yeah.
think it's always they don't they're doing this as a favor, yes, but it's
Yes.
not we're not making any money off of it. Not yet at least, maybe down the line, you wanna monetize something, add some sponsorships, get some more sponsorships from some people,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what the struggle is right now is a lot of it, you got all this equipment you got to get, and then where does it come from? It comes from the pocket, it's like, then you got the family who's like, oh, how much did that cost me? Okay, where did you get that from? Where is that coming from? And right, and rightfully so, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, rightfully so.
Hey,
And so
but
I understand.
I highly recommend Anchor, bud. If you're not on Anchor,
I'm considering it mostly for the sponsorship stuff. I do see that they
bro,
do have
day one, automatically you're making money.
yeah.
So like you have different platforms that they get you distributed on, and like that's how I'm on Spotify, and
Mm,
Spotify pays me from day one.
nice,
Yeah,
nice.
it's awesome.
Yeah, I think on the mic it's going to be the third podcast that I've you know produced, and I use quotations because I mean, how much
Yeah,
really production is there to it?
yeah,
I don't have this team of 10 people. This isn't the Joe Rogan show, so it's not like I
yeah,
got some guy on the video, then some guy here, some guy there, and I've used previous publishing sites, hosting sites, or whatever the term is for it.
yeah.
Um, I have a different podcast that literally all I talk about is just beer, just
Nice,
craft beer, the craft industry of beer, and all that stuff.
awesome.
And I'm not an expert. I'm nowhere an expert about beer. I like beer. I know what I like. I can give
Yeah.
an honest opinion of what I thought of this beer, you know. And in no way am I trying to sell the beer. I'm just saying, look, just go try it out. Here it is. If you like it, go ahead. If you don't like it, that's whatever. It's you. But I liked it. I didn't like it, or whatever the case may be.
So what's your beer?
I like. I'm on the hazy trip right now.
Okay.
So I'm on the hazy IPA right now, also known as the
Yeah.
New England IPA. I guess that's the original term.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, I wasn't that guy. I mean, doing the beer podcast has broadened my horizon. Because I was
Yeah.
so narrow, I was a Shock Top and Blue Moon guy, and that's all I
Uh,
ever drank.
yes.
And then I got into the craft beer, and it's like, okay, what's an IPA? What? Oh, what's a Pilsner? A lager? What's stout? What's the difference between a stout and a porter? And then they hit you with these doubles, singles, triples, IPAs, quadruple IPAs, and then it's these weird things, and it's like, I go, dang, no wonder it's popping. They hit everything. They hit every single person they can think of. What, you don't like beer? Oh, look, we got ciders now. Here's a
Right.
craft cider. I mean, that's the cool thing about it. So, and I did that with a friend of mine, and we it's just again schedules, busyness. We both have different schedules. We both have different lives. So trying
Yes.
to parallel our schedules is really hard. That's when I decided, hey, look, I want to do something completely off the spectrum, away from beer, and just move a different direction. Do it on my own. So if I don't do it, it's just my fault, not my fault or the other guy's fault or whatever the case may be.
For the people that have to know, bro, that do not know, what's the difference between a Pilsner, stout, lager, etc.?
It really is on the way that it's brewed. So obviously a stout is more of a darker color.
Okay.
Typically a lot of stouts or porters are more of like a coffee flavored or dark. You know, um, a pilsner is more of a lighter beer. So Miller Lite, for example, they consider themselves a pilsner beer, and that's really what it is. It's a light beer, easy to drink. It's not super bitter. It's really mellow. You don't have to worry about it. It's a really good summer beer. You
Yeah.
just pop it open and it's whatever. Then you go into the crazy stuff and the hoppiness and the bitterness and the ABVs, and that's when it gets just the hazies, the double IPAs. I mean, that's when it gets really. That's when you really have to know what you like and you don't like. I myself, I don't like a very bitter beer. So in the craft beer industry, there's this IBUs. I believe it's the International Bitterness Unit.
Okay.
I think that's the I. Don't remember exactly. But the higher
Okay.
the number, the more bitter it is. So if you have between 1 and 100, and you got a beer that's 80 IBUs, it's gonna be bitter.
Yes.
But if you got a beer that's between 30, 40, 50. It'll be bitter, but it's not gonna be like pow bitter. It's gonna be
Yeah.
all right, cool. Then you got the ABVs. Then you got how they made it. Oh, it's a hazy. It's a double hazy. It's orange this or creamsicle that, and you
Yeah.
know, it's just crazy, crazy. But I've seen like this is where I'm at. I'm in Orange County in
Okay.
California, and the craft beer industry out here has just boomed. I
Yes.
mean, you got they're comparing Anaheim. That's where Disneyland is at.
Yes.
They're comparing that area to the whole where is it in Oregon where the big stuff is at,
Yeah.
the big craft where the big craft beer stuff is at. They're comparing that Anaheim now that's what they want it to be. I
Yeah.
mean Anaheim alone has 15, 20 micro craft beer breweries, and it's still opening up. There's still a crazy amount of stuff happening.
We
And
have a scene just like that in Vegas, man.
yeah,
There's so many breweries. Oh my God. And even in the suburbs, man, if you go in like the suburbs, there's like little warehouse districts. You'll have like four of them. And they're like, they'll have the brewery and then they'll have a little bar in the front. And you can like go in and buy like packs of beer if you want packs, or you could just sit there and drink and enjoy the atmosphere.
yeah, no, it's great. I like the environment. It's
Yes.
just you got the ones that are for the young crowd. You got the ones that are for the older crowd. You got the ones other ones for the parent crowd. So there's one, and I love it because there's an environment for every person in reality. You know, I got a kid, and my kid's my life. I'm not gonna leave my kid at home so I can go to a brewery.
Yeah.
If there's something for them to do there, whether it's hanging out with me, there's a restaurant, they serve food. Those are the type of things I think about. You know,
Yes.
and I mean, it's just popping, booming. It's crazy.
Absolutely. So what was the pivotal moment for you to actually start, pursuing your own dreams, pursuing this podcast or the other two that you've done?
Um, well, Brews. The name of the other one is Brews and Q's. Brews and Q's podcast. That's my beer one.
Okay.
It was July of 2016, 2017. I was sitting at home with my friend, and we were literally, just talking about. And I thought I knew I had a friend, actually, Joe, person you your first podcast, is
Yeah.
actually a really good buddy of mine. Um, he used to have a podcast back in the day. He had
Okay.
one with somebody, and then he did it without that somebody. And I said, you know what? I can do that. Why not? What do I want to talk about? What do I like to talk about? Well, everyone asked me about beer, so I was like, you know what? Let me just do beer.
Yeah.
And then it became okay. Well, you got to network, you got to talk. So part of the non-paying job aspect of this is you got to be on that social media and commenting on posts and that dedication of replying back and oh you follow me, I follow you, and all right, well let's do this. And it got tiresome. I'm not gonna lie, man. It got tiresome. And
Yeah.
then
The work.
with my little graphic artist experience that I have, it was like, all right, well I know Photoshop, barely touched Illustrator, so let's see what I can make. So we made this really awful logo, and then it looked like just something that came out of like a high school workshop or something.
Yes.
Actually, no, I can't even say it looked like. Probably a high schooler could have probably made it better than I did. But my buddy left. He went to Idaho, and we stopped recording. We're down for about 2 years, maybe a year and a half or so. And I said, you know what? I gotta rebrand it. I gotta make the logo look nicer. I gotta make it pop just to see everyone can look at it and go, oh, this is what it's about. Because for the longest time, they're like, bruising Q's, what is that? Barbecue? Or is that Q as in a pool table Q? Like, what are you talking about? And it was like, no, Q's
Like
question.
questions. Uh.
Yes, yeah. But I decided that I have um, I have enough experience in sense to where I say, I can talk about myself. And I think that's the hardest part about it is how do you toot your own horn, so to speak,
Yeah.
without sounding arrogant.
Right.
And I think that's what the problem was, and it was always, you know, I mean, podcasts there are millions.
Yes.
It was trying to get people to listen to our podcast and why. So we first thing right off the bat, we say, look, we're not experts. We know nothing about the brewing process. We know nothing about the industry. We're talking as consumers. This is where
Yes.
we're and I think that's what I wanted to do. I wanted something to be very transparent. I wasn't
So,
trying to be the expert.
so like, here's a thought that I had. So, one of the reasons I have my podcast framed how it is to add a lot of value to you and add a lot of value to the person that comes on because it gives you a chance to showcase yourself. And there's going to be clips that obviously brings a lot of attention to you and your account, etc. So, with that thought process in mind, while you're doing the Q's and brews, why not incorporate some of the people and some of the companies that you're going on? I mean, how many, like you said, the scene is booming. I'm sure you could go to have any one of the people that actually have local houses and get them on the podcast and talk to them and let them highlight their whole thing. You might even get a tour. You know what I mean?
100%.
Go out there and do a live one.
And that's actually what I intended to do, what we intended to do. But what it comes down to in reality is my 9 to 5 is so busy
Yes.
that a lot of these breweries, their free time is during the
When
week
you're at work.
before they're even open. I
Yes.
don't want to take away from I mean, if they know there's a slow day, so I did it one time, and my equipment failed.
Oh,
So I had a
oh,
45-minute interview with
wasted
the
time.
owner of the brewery and the
Yes.
head brewer, and this is a brewery that I loved. Oh, I still
Yeah.
do love. It's a good brewery. Got home, tried to do my post. Let's see, look
Yeah.
at it looks. I got nothing.
Didn't record.
Just
Oh,
straight line, no audio. I was like, are you kidding me? And I felt
uh,
so embarrassed going back to this brewery and going, hey man, sorry, I didn't record anything. I was pretty much saying, look, I wasted 45 minutes of your time. I'm sorry. Do you want to do it again?
yes.
And
They laughed.
you don't get any answer back. That's their polite way of saying no.
Yes.
So then now what I'm trying to do is finding a way to have a mobile setup where I can go out and do it. Because right now what I record off of is I have a USB interface mix board. And
Okay.
it's not small, it's a big thing. So I gotta have power for that. I gotta have, the microphones, I gotta have all this, you know, and that's just my preference because I am kind of a nerd right now when it comes to the sound stuff.
Yeah.
But um, and that's why I thought, you know what, let's put pause on bruising cues right now. Let's put
Yes.
pause on it, not stop, but pause. Let's figure out how we can make it mobile. Let's figure out where it doesn't hurt our pocket and still make it mobile, and then we can go on and continue on. And that's where I thought, look, I can do on the mic. I don't have. They don't have to be present. I can do it over phone. I can take phone calls. I have
Yes.
the equipment to take phone calls, and I can still achieve what I want to achieve, which is just interview the person, get to know them, and see what their challenges were, just as you are right now with me.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to because I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about with on this little Victories podcast, and here I
Yeah.
am. I can't shut up.
Man, I had the same experience, man. I
Yeah.
thought I had someone on. I hit start recording, and it like showed the little red dot and everything. But they called me. like I'd already had a couple episodes, and like I always called them. So then they called me. I hit start record. It looked like it was recording.
Hmm.
We did an entire podcast. I'm just waiting for the video to upload because it takes a minute to upload after it's done, especially if it's like 40 minutes. So I'm just
Yeah.
waiting and waiting and waiting. And then I'm like, man, she called me. Wonder if it's on her side. So I like write her a message. Hey, did it pop up on your side? She's like, no. I'm like, oh man, I'm sorry. Like that didn't happen. You want to do it again? And she was like, yeah, maybe another time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
Super
feel it.
embarrassing.
Yeah, and
Super embarrassing.
and it hurts because then those are the moments that you go, and those are the downfalls where you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
that was a little failure, not a victory.
yeah, yeah, no, 100%. And it's like, how do I? It's like those are the things that intimidate you, and you think about it, and you're like, do I want to continue and do this? Do I reach out to the next brewery and do this? And that's how I felt. I'm not gonna lie. That's how I felt 100%. Was like, you know what? Maybe I gotta get my stuff in check first. Let me gather up my stuff again, pile them up again, organize them, and then all right, let's get our thoughts again and make sure everything the gears are going the right way, and then go back out and do it. Let's
Right.
not stop. I don't want to stop. I want to do it. I've invested so much time, money, in the Brews Q's podcast that I still want to do it.
Yes.
And that's the main thing.
Yeah.
And that's where I saw your your first podcast, your first one you did,
Thank you.
with Average Joe, and of
Yeah.
course I saw it from Joe, and I was like, yeah, you did a podcast. I'm like, that a-hole better do mine too. I'm just kidding,
Right.
and I listened to it, and I say, look, this is really cool, like, hey, what you got going on is really dope, you want to essentially, for what the way I gathered is, you're pretty much promoting your guest.
Yes.
That's how I
Absolutely.
felt it. That's how I felt. I listened to the
Absolutely.
last one you had with what's the girl's name?
Let's Kim Kim.
Liz Kim. Yeah, I listened to that one. And I'm a podcast listener. Like that's what I listen to on my car. My
Yeah.
go-to has always been, I go to Joe Rogan, but there's some times where I'm like, I don't want to listen to this one. I don't want to listen to that one. Then I go,
It's so dependent on the guest.
yes,
Even Joe Rogan is dependent on the guest.
yeah, that
Absolutely.
guy. If I can interview like the way that guy does, I think I'd be good. That guy asks some gnarly question. He's a smart, intelligent guy, and he just knows what to ask, how to ask it. And
So if you really watch it and start paying attention to it, the best thing that he does is always frames. He frames almost every question that he has. So then he'll like tell a personal story about how he does it or cover an event or something in his perspective and then ask your opinion. That's how he avoids the interview feel, I feel, because he's always telling something, trying to explain, framing it, and then afterwards saying, what do you feel about Joe Rogan's style? You see the same thing? You know what I mean? Like that type of thing.
yeah. He's yeah, it's crazy. It's that word judo.
Yes.
It's the word judo, man.
And he was just talking about it recently about how he felt so uncomfortable on the first ones, but he's really crafted his style of conversation. And he feels like it's carried over to every conversation he has in life now.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much you got to make sure that if you're doing this, you're doing it because you're not shy. Because I mean,
Yeah.
if you're shy and you can't talk to somebody and you can't communicate with somebody, you're I mean, blatantly out there, you're gonna fail. It's not
Yeah.
gonna come up. It's not gonna happen. No one's gonna come to you. You gotta be the initiator. You gotta be the one to do it. I mean, and that's what essentially what it comes down to is you gotta
But
put
at the
yourself out there.
same time, you will fail. 1,000%.
It's gonna
But at
happen.
But just like Jocko says, man, there's no such thing as flawless execution. So you just got to take that failure, learn from it, move forward, and try to do better next time. And if you sit there with like your thumbs twirling and nothing to think about, Maybe you need more prep work before your next podcast. You know what I mean? It's not a reason to quit, but it's a reason to take it more serious.
100%. Yeah, it's it's a learning experience. You gotta learn
Absolutely.
from the mistake. You can't let the mistake scare you. You gotta be able to learn from that mistake. Get back on the
Absolutely.
horse. What? You rode too fast? Okay, ride a little slower. You know, you didn't ask the right questions. You can stumble on the words. Maybe ask questions that you're more comfortable with. You know, that easier to roll off the tongue. You know,
Yeah.
those are the things that you gotta think about. And those are things that I've learned. You know, and in doing this. I mean, I'm no professional. I'm no expert. But I mean, I'm learning as I go. I mean, I've
You're out there
learned how to
grinding.
talk to people. Yeah, it's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
You have to put yourself out there. You gotta. Yes, you will be vulnerable. That's gonna happen, but you gotta do it. You gotta do it to execute it. You gotta do it to excel. You gotta do it to keep moving on to the next step. It's a ladder.
So where do you see yourself in 5 years, man?
God, professionally or with this podcast.
Neither one.
Like I said, I'm in the security industry, and what I do is I'm an operations manager for a security company here in Orange County. Um,
Okay.
been with that company for some time, and in my career wise, um, 5 years, I would hope that I'd maybe had my own branch to run or something, something to
Yeah.
show that's been there. Um, I wouldn't mind going down to San Diego, not gonna hurt.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
um, as far as podcast wise, I mean, I really have a good feeling about on the mic with Eddie. That's that's really I'm really it's easier when it's just you. You know what I mean? You don't have
Absolutely.
to ask, hey, what do you think about this? Or hey, do you like this before we move on? Or can we do this? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's cool to have a partner too. But on the mic wise, I hope down 5 years down the road,
Yeah.
I hope that I'll be recording from my own studio
Yeah.
and renting some office space and having the opportunity to be making that money, and where my that sponsorship, that monetizing stuff is paying for that studio, and I don't have to worry
Yeah.
about nothing coming out of my pocket. You know,
Yes.
I got a 4-year-old to think about, and in 5 years she's gonna be 9, and there's gonna be expenses and. Daddy,
Oh,
I
yeah.
want this. Daddy, I want that. Daddy, let's go to Disneyland. Daddy, let's go to SeaWorld. Daddy, let's do this. And who knows? It could potentially be another kid. You never know. You never know what life brings you. But on the mic is something I'm looking forward to. I'm really excited about, and it's something that before I put it out, I want to make sure I have my ducks in a row. I want to make sure I have good content. I want to make sure I have the right content. You
Yes.
I don't want to be sitting in a talking to somewhere and it just sounds like we're just you know I mean, yes, I want it to sound like we're just chatting, but I don't want it to sound just very blah, you know.
Yes.
And that's kind of what I want to go with. And that's I'm excited for OTM on the mic, and I hope within that 5 years that I'll have that one in Brews and Q's, and hope by then I'm known within the Orange County community. I'm hoping to tackle Orange County. I want to be known in Orange County. This is my county. This is what I want
Yeah.
to be. Not many podcasts that are brew related in Orange County, or none that I heard of. And I want to be the Orange County Beer Podcast. That's my goal for Brews and Q's, and for OTM on the mic. I just want to be that podcast to be like, hey man, go listen to this episode, and maybe that's how you draw them attention, draw in, and you listen to that one episode, and you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, that stuff's crazy.
You know what's funny is my first podcast was called The Sesh, and it was a cannabis podcast, and I had a partner, and that's the entire reason I quit. It was too much to deal with the partner, the schedule, and the other person's schedule.
Yeah, yeah,
You almost have to be, when you have a job, at least when you have a day job, you have to do it one on one.
yeah, yeah. Do it on your own time. Do it when
Once you
you're.
get to like the level that you have a studio and you do have residuals coming in, then I'm sure partners and employees are easy. But
Yeah.
until it's that level, it's got to be one.
Yeah. No, I'm getting it. That's why I'm investing some good money into it. You know, I'm trying to put the ducks in a row.
Yeah.
I got the website. You know, nothing on there right now other than podcast coming soon with my email address and I do have a Google Voice number that's attached to that. It's all on the website, and you know, I got Joe, actually Joe, who's working on my logo, you know, and I'm
Yeah.
having him doing it, and I like his creative flow, and I'm just like, he's like, he
Yeah,
asked me,
it's
what are
awesome.
you looking, what are you looking for? And I'm like, man, I told him, and I go, look, man, I want something that represents me, represents something that represents my heritage. I'm Mexican, but I don't want you to plaster the freaking Mexican flag on anyone. I don't want no red. I don't want no white. I don't want no green. I don't want any of that. And he's like, damn, I don't know how I'm gonna do that without doing that. I'm like,
Hmm.
I'm like, I'm sure you can do it. You got it. You just
Yeah,
gotta trust the guy 100%. You know.
absolutely.
So that's 5 years from now, hoping that you know, that's what I have. You know, and OTM is popping, and you know, hoping that obviously we do this again, of course.
Absolutely. Well, it's been 30 minutes, bud. We're going to wrap it up right now. It's been awesome talking to you. Thank you
All
for
right, man.
doing the show.
Hey, thank you.
Absolutely.